Welcome back. In this lesson, we're going to focus on the following question. What is land contamination? Lesson objective. By the end of this lesson, you will be able to describe land contamination. Today, you will learn about how human activity impacts land contamination. Before you read, name 3 facts you know about land contamination. Write 2 questions you have about land contamination, and then write an analogy about land contamination. So now I will generate 3 facts that I already know about land contamination. That is something that is common knowledge. So, 1, I know that landfills are places where garbage is dumped and buried. 2, I know that the land around landfills is not safe to use because it is contaminated. And 3, I know that it can take a very long time for landfills to be a safe place for public use. Now, generating questions. How do I ask good questions? Good questions start with who, what, where, when, why, and how. Brainstorm a list of at least 12 questions about this topic. Here are some question starts to help you generate good, thought-provoking questions. Why? What are the reasons? What if? What is the purpose of? How would it be different if? Suppose that. What if we knew? And what would change if? Choose one of these question starts to help you generate good, thought-provoking questions. Before you read, name 3 facts you know about land contamination and write 2 questions you have about land contamination. So which question starts were you able to use to generate your questions? For my first question, I used the how. How are landfills constructed? That's something that I'm very curious about. And 2, I used another question start. Do landfills generate air pollution? I really want to know more about that. And finally, I'm going to write an analogy about land contamination. Contaminated land is like a contaminated river. It cannot sustain life. A good landfill uses technology. A landfill must be properly built to prevent contaminated land. First of all, where the land is placed is really important. Landfills should never be located near water that can flood. Landfills must also be carefully constructed so they don't leak waste materials. To build a solid landfill, construction workers dig a large hole and place thick layers of clay on the bottom. Thick plastic covers the clay. The clay and plastic liner will prevent materials from the garbage from leaking into the soil around the landfill. At the bottom of the plastic liner, pipes collect liquids released by garbage as it breaks down. The collected liquid moves through the pipes to a wastewater treatment plant, where it is cleaned. On top of the pipes is a layer of sand and gravel. The liquids filter through these materials before entering the pipes. Good landfills can become green spaces again. When the landfill is securely built, garbage trucks dump the trash they collect into it. The trash is spread out in a layer. A layer of soil is spread on top of the layer of trash. The layers continue to pile up until the landfill is full. It can take about 50 years for a landfill to become full. After the landfill is filled, it is covered with a layer of soil and left alone. After several years, the land can be used for trails and parks. Putting trash into properly built landfills prevents land from becoming contaminated with the waste products that are breaking down from the garbage that settles there. People walking on this trail may never guess that layers of trash are safely buried beneath the soil. After the reading, so now I will generate 3 new facts that I learned from the reading about land contamination. 1. I learned that landfills must be built in proper places to prevent land contamination. 2. I learned that landfills are constructed in layers of sand, plastic liners, and pipes and clay. And 3. I learned that it can take about 50 years for landfills to fill up. Were you able to find answers to the 2 questions that you asked after the reading? Now let's go and revisit my 2 questions. My 2 questions were, how are landfills constructed? And do landfills generate air pollution? So this slide here tells me how a landfill is constructed. To build a solid landfill, construction workers dig a large hole and place thick layers of clay on the bottom, and so on and so on. They will place plastic covers and liners and etc. So I'm going to use that for my answer. Landfills are carefully constructed in designated areas. To build a solid landfill, construction workers dig a large hole and place thick layers of clay on the bottom. And finally, the second question: do landfills generate air pollution? I don't remember reading anything about air pollution. However, I can still have I can still go online and find information about, do landfills generate air pollution? And that's exactly what I did for my question. I opened up a Google link tab and I typed in the question: do landfills generate air pollution? And I was taken to a New York State website, www.health.newyork.gov/environmental/outdoors/air/landfill_gas. So this section here talks about landfill gas. Landfill gas contains many different gases. Methane and carbon dioxide make up to 90 to 98% of landfill gas. The remaining 2 to 10% includes nitrogen, oxygen, ammonia, sulfides, hydrogen, and various other gases. So, to answer my second question, landfills do create air pollution. According to New York State's Department of Health website, landfill gas contains many different gases. Methane and carbon dioxide make up to 90 to 98% of landfill gas. The remaining 2 to 10% includes nitrogen, oxygen, ammonia, sulfides, hydrogen, and various other gases. Now, having completed the reading, I'm going to generate a new analogy about land contamination. The function of a landfill is to store trash, just as it is the function of a refrigerator to store food. Thanks for watching. See you next time.